All right, we are following breaking news out of National City where a police officer somehow lost control of their cruiser and crashed into a building. You could see the damage right there.
Yeah, the airbag went off in that cruiser. It happened just after 5 this morning in the 300 block of National City Boulevard. It also appears they hit a car, a gray BMW, knocking over signs. There's a power box, utility box there, and the windows were smashed. Not clear what led up to this crash or if anyone was seriously hurt. We are working for you, though, to gather more information on this, and we'll bring you those details as soon as we get them. Weather causing some dangerous conditions out there. This is a weather impact alert here. This storm drenching San Diego right now. This is video from Vista overnight where it was coming down. There are reports of downed trees already. We have some video on Convoy in Kearney Mesa as well of that rain is really making its presence here on this Thursday morning. You can see that tree across the road right there. So take it easy out there. There's a lot going on here, and we're going to navigate it all for you. It's 6 a.m. on this wet Thursday. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Chris Crow. We have team coverage today trying to cover every part of this weather impact day. CBS 8's Regina Yarita live in La Jolla with the flooding concerns.
We want to begin with meteorologist Evan Ronnie tracking the rain. This next round headed our way.
It is coming down pretty well across San Diego County. Right along the coast and inland is where we're seeing the bulk of that moderate to heavy rainfall. I wanted to zoom in a little bit on what we see around the greater downtown San Diego and what we've seen occur in just the last about hour or two. Now, the National Weather Service has upgraded what was a flood watch to a flood advisory now. And what we see is right along the coastline moving inland, we've got just this pretty strong clip of moisture. You see the areas of yellow, orange, and red being areas where we could see some thunderstorm potential. That's just south of the 8 freeway, moving toward El Cajon. You can also see down toward the South Bay around National City, Chula Vista, and Imperial Beach, plenty of activity as well. The wild part of this is that it is coming in 2 waves. First wave is arriving on shore right now, and that second wave is stacked right behind it. That's this area of yellow and orange that's right behind the first one. So that's going to come closer to about the midday stretch. By the time we get to the end of the day, we will likely be around a full inch to maybe 2 inches of additional rain on the ground. That rain already creating slick roads across the county, and we want to send things out to CBS 8's Regina Yarita, where we're urging everyone, of course, to practice caution while on the roads. Regina, earlier when we checked in with you, we saw just that steady rainfall that was accumulating, and it looked like kind of flooding a portion of the road behind you. How are things looking now?
Yeah, kind of the same thing that we're noticing right now, Evan. I'm going to step out of the way, kind of show you. This is off of La Jolla Village Drive. You can see on the ground there, still some pretty fast-moving water there on the ground. This area, at least the roads here, are pretty wet. They're slick. We are seeing drivers here this morning during their morning commute, slowing down, taking precaution. But do not be the person to be speeding under these conditions. Not the time, especially under these conditions. But again, right now, within the past hour, 2 hours, we have been seeing some pretty steady rain. Just 30 minutes ago, pretty heavy rain. It was coming down at a pretty crazy speed, but this is why we're asking people, right, to slow down during this morning commute. If you don't have to leave your house, probably best. If you're like me, I don't like to be driving under these conditions just because we are dealing with some pretty heavy rain. And again, as Evan mentioned, within the past next couple of hours, we're going to continue to see that rainfall, but it's pretty intense to see just within those 2 hours how much rain we received and how much more rain we're going to be receiving in the next couple of hours. So La Jolla Village Drive, just a couple days ago, we did notice our Chris Grow actually reporting out here some of the flooding that happened. We're not seeing that right now, but we are going to be keeping a close eye just on this area and of course other areas that have a tendency to flood like we noticed the last week. But we are seeing more cars out here, more people just heading out the road, heading to work, probably heading to school. So again, this is really the type of weather that we're going to be experiencing this morning. I did not show any umbrella right now. We're not seeing any umbrella with me right now because I just wanted to show you just how fast, right, how quick I get soaked just by being out here. So if you are going to be heading out the road or just heading out of your house, definitely have a raincoat, have some type of umbrella because you will get wet, and you can already see, right, just how much rain we've received within the past 2 hours. We'll keep you guys updated with more weather conditions, but for now, seems like the rain has slowly come down. We'll see in the next 30 minutes how we're receiving that rain. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, it is wet out there. We're seeing that flooding, and the wind's also a concern, potentially the culprit for what you're seeing right now. Look at this giant tree. This is in the Torrey Pines area going right across the road there. Looks like a vehicle is nearby. Chris, that's a big tree blocking a lot of lanes.
Yeah, that is a big one. It's tough to kind of make out what section there of La Jolla, there in that Torrey Pines area, that is. But you could see some traffic even approaching the tree. So that does look like that's down over at least one side of the road. You can see that person may even be stuck pulling some limbs there out from under. And as our photographer Julio Vasquez kind of moves around, you can see crews are on their way in. Yeah, that stopped one side of the road.
Yeah, so both sides are trying to navigate around that. We'll keep an eye on it. You're going to have to get the chainsaws out there and try to cut that up to open up that lane here. We'll keep an eye on it. And with all this rain here this morning, people in University City concerned about a growing sinkhole. This is just off Syracuse Avenue. I mean, look at the size of this. The city confirms it first appeared about a year ago. Neighbors say it began as two separate holes that then combined into one. They're blaming it on a rusted metal stormwater pipe. City officials say emergency repairs were approved last year with work set to start this week, but now that has been delayed because of the rain. The city told us crews will be monitoring damage throughout the storm and will start repairs once the rain moves out. This morning's rain also concern in the Tijuana River Valley. Look at this. Chop Rate was over this area yesterday where we saw piles of trash and debris just flowing down that river, butting up against a barrier on the U.S. side of the border. Over the weekend, an excessive flow of wastewater and stormwater entered the U.S. from Tijuana. The International Boundary and Water Commission is investigating the cause. Meanwhile, ahead of this rain, wastewater was pumped along with stormwater to the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant. Mexico is also deploying measures, including placing sandbags to prevent increased sewage flow from the rain. The commission says once the rain stops, the city of Tijuana will continue to clear sediment and resume repairs. As always, you can find an extended weather forecast on CBS 8 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
And this morning, crews are investigating what started a fire at an abandoned building in Liberty Station. Look at the flames. You can see right here ripping through the roof. It started after 8:30 last night. Now, the building is located just off of Cushing Road along the water at NTC Park. It's unclear if anyone was hurt. We're working to find out what the abandoned building once was. And the owner of a so-called hoarder house in Ocean View Hills facing charges this morning. Lisa Golden was arrested just outside of her home on Mariner Drive yesterday. Jail logs show that she was booked at Las Colinas for defying a court order to stay away from the home. In fact, neighbors tell us that she's repeatedly been in and out of the house. Golden is due in court next month. She has previously received multiple court warnings to clean up the property. She never did. So a judge approved a receiver's request to sell the home. It's currently listed for $600,000, but cash only. A brief open house for the property scheduled today from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Today, the Poway Unified School District is discussing potential staff changes. In a statement to CBS 8, the district says they plan to eliminate 4 management positions, 71 classified, and 26 certified positions. The teachers' union says the positions being eliminated cut support from disaster preparedness, English language learner programs, and social emotional learning. The district says those services will continue, but they are facing a significant budget deficit and must cut expenses by $10 million starting in the 2025-26 school year. They also said eliminated positions do not mean necessarily that they will lead to layoffs. Some positions may be vacant or adjusted through restructuring.
All right, time now is 6:09, and we've seen just how widespread this weather, the storm has kind of brought the down tree there just north of the golf course.
Winds.
Right.
Winds.
Wind, rain, mountain snow, all of it coming at a pretty decent rate out there. That live look that you saw was downtown San Diego. That rain is coming down there. By the time we get through the end of the day today, we're looking at just under an inch, maybe up to an inch in total. And then if we run the models all the way through Friday, we could get an additional ½ an inch or so in many spots around the county. That means that if we start right now and measure between now and about early Saturday morning, we could have an additional 2 inches of rain on the ground in areas like Poway. They're right off of 2 inches. Escondido, Alpine, El Cajon, Ramona, right around an 1.5 to 2 inches. And then out along the coastline, we should be right around that 1 inch marker. So a lot of rain still on the way. We've been talking about the wind as well. You can see how those winds are pretty breezy across our inland valleys toward our mountains. This afternoon is going to be by far the breeziest portion of time for us this week. You can see how those gusts are upwards of 50 miles per hour in Borrego Springs. Out along the coastline, mainly 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts that we're expecting. So we still have a possibility of more down trees. That's why we always say down power lines are a threat as well when we see those 50+ mile per hour wind gusts. So it's going to be a busy morning commute. It already has been, but it's only going to be picking up over the next hour or so as more and more people start to head out on the roads. Winds are going to lessen in intensity by the time we get to about 3 a.m. So overnight from tonight into early tomorrow. But as you can see, it's only along the coast and inland that we kind of see that minor decrease in wind speeds. Tomorrow afternoon will also be a breezy day, especially off toward our mountains and deserts. On the next 12 hours, you can see how there are going to be times where that rain intensity starts to wane a bit. And that's going to mainly be by the afternoon, where we go from that 100% chance at 10 a.m. to hitting the noon hour, and that chance for rain starts to drop down to 20%. It's at 20 and 10% from noon through the evening hours. So what we have for the morning is much more intense prior to the noon hour compared to what we expect into the afternoon. Our rain chances are high today and tomorrow, and that coincides with our cooler temperatures. We'll start to see those temperatures finally get a more notable boost. We'll get more sunshine in the mix by the time we get to the upcoming weekend, and it looks like as we go into next week, we'll also have some pretty fair weather on the way with temperatures right around average. Talking about traffic this morning, I mean, there's no use trying to focus on every single one of the crashes that we have popping up here this morning. We've got about 10 in total, but I wanted to kind of focus in on where those roads are starting to get busy in general, even without crashes. 5 and 805 northbound, starting to see some congestion, westbound and even eastbound lanes, the 94 as well as the 8. And then if we want to zoom in on a couple crashes specifically, you can see how each of these is causing some delays, blocked lanes, blocked shoulders. That's why we encourage you to keep your guard up as you head out on that morning commute. It's going to be a busy one for the next several hours. Border wait times this morning are at 70 minutes at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry is going to take you about 60 minutes. Could get across about 10 minutes faster.